being essentially a money courier. Why did it take him 2 whole years to do this? Number one. Number two, why didn't anybody, knowing that he was just out of town and was going to be back, why didn't anybody intervene to stop 3 people from getting hanged?
Well,
although
I guess I can kind of answer that maybe.
Oh yeah, how?
Because
they didn't care.
Well, no, I think it's possible that the Perrys were kind of
dirtbags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have been stealing and trashing things and getting drunk.
The rednecks of the English countryside.
I mean, they could have been people that the Viscountess was like, I don't care. They don't contribute anything. They're kind of like, beating up all of the people who live in my area. They're stealing from my employee. Yeah, basically just troublemakers. And you know what? It's probably better if they're gone anyway.
Yeah, could
just
be.
Snuff that line out right there and there.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying that's like a good reason, but it's a reason.
No, it's
Take
not,
that,
actually.
Doyle.
Well, actually, if you think about it,
you don't rule.
If he left and he was not expected to come back, but he had to leave on this super secret mission, maybe his wife was eventually going to go join him wherever he was, then it totally makes sense, actually, to let 3 people get executed, because that puts an end to the whole thing.
Solidifies his story.
Yeah, he disappeared, but all speculation is done. I mean, he was murdered, 3 people were killed, all questioning is done, so that kind of makes sense. But again, what was his super secret mission? We don't know. And it's hard to say. I mean, there could actually be progress on this. There are people actually all the time going through ancient libraries and old manuscripts, and you never know. Somebody might stumble across a little more information one of these days.
Yeah, maybe.
It could happen. But on the theory, our last theory here, this is actually kind of a plausible theory too, which is that the whole story is complete BS. This never happened.
All a fabrication.
It's completely a fabrication. Yeah.
Totally possible.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I mean it is possible, but somebody had to go back and really fake some records really well.
Okay.
Because there were accounts, like one of the justices of the peace, what's his name, Overbury, wrote an account of this about 10 years after it happened and published it. And that's still around, it's still available. Some other documents have surfaced. Of course, the letter that Harrison wrote, that still exists. The one that he wrote to explain where he'd been gone for 2 years, that's still around as far as I know. And then somebody, just in this century, I think, found some court records discussing the trial of the Perrys for the murder of William Harrison. And I named them all, Joan, Richard, and John, and they were all sentenced to be hanged for the murder of William Harrison.
So here's the one thing that just screws this theory, or actually backs this theory up and screws up your belief that it's real. Those names are super duper common.
Yeah.
William Harrison.
Yeah, William Harrison.
William Harrison. Very, very common name.
Yeah.
Perry is not an uncommon name. Joan's not uncommon.
Yeah.
I mean, John. I mean, these are all common names, so it is entirely possible that the Perrys killed Harrison.
But
not the Harrison who came back.
A different Harrison.
Right, so these things are happening in the area, and then it's kind of this conflagration of stuff, and then it all just kind of merges in the historical record because we don't know because it's crappy record keeping.
Well, no, actually, back starting in those days, they were starting to keep better records, but also, and
this is also in a time of turmoil when the monarchy is coming back, and there is administrative turnover.
Maybe, but I mean, again, that's one of the things that settles it for me, though, is that Overbury wrote his account of this whole thing, and he was privy to the facts of the whole case, and he wrote the account of it, and so unless he was totally BSing it.
He was an aspiring sci-fi writer.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, no, he was, as far as I know, a respectable man who would. And don't forget, doing stuff like writing sci-fi probably back in the 17th century was not considered respectable at all.
Yeah.
So I think that
Voltaire got away with it.
I think it happened.
Yeah.
I think it happened.
Okay. I think it did.
Because I think that's like big news.
I really think that this whole thing boils down to he took off and spun a BS tale when he ran out of money and it was running away from debt.
I agree.
I think that he got himself into either gambling debt or just credit debt because, look, I've got all these hundreds of pounds, lend me money. I really think that he ran away
and
spent faster than he expected to.
And had to come back.
It's a good thing I gave them this different name. I gotta go.
Yeah,
And didn't know where else to go, so he went home.
Well, and maybe he took a big chance, I think. But, I think maybe one of the reasons it worked out for him, and I don't think he got his old job back, as far as I know.
Oh, I
doubt it.
I doubt it. But
if he did, they're very gullible.
Yeah, but maybe the local law and everything like that, maybe they were all kind of like, let's just sweep this under the rug and forget about it, because otherwise it kind of makes us look bad.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And I do think that I think this case was sort of the basis for what was a long tradition in English law, which is that basically, if you don't have a body, you don't have a murder.
Yeah, that's what I read.
I think this was the genesis of that whole idea, is that, because and there have been other cases. There was a case in American history, like back in the 19th century, where the guy was hung for killing some guy, and then some years later, the guy comes back to town and says, "Hey, what's up, dudes?" And, "Oh, we thought you were dead. We killed Ted over it. Whoopsie."
Well, Ted was a D-bag anyway. It's okay.
Yeah, so...
But, English law has for many, many years had the no body, no hanging rule, but they've gotten away from that, apparently.
Well, you might still be able to convict people, but you probably still
Then again, the Brits don't kill anybody.
I don't think they execute anybody, but
they also run on the shortest prison sentence. Oh, you clubbed an old lady near to death. That'll be 3 weeks in jail.
Yeah, they do, kind of. I mean, it's like there's only a couple of people in the whole country that are actually seriously in prison for life.
Jeremy Bamber being one of them.
Yeah, he's one of just a few. And
yeah.
That's it. I mean, just a couple, really.
Yeah.
That's why they have a high crime rate over there.
I don't think so.
17 of the Queen's corgis.
Yeah.
Because they piddled on the carpet.
Yeah.
Oh, it tied the room together.
All right, so you guys have any other theories here?
No.
Any other ideas?
No,
what the hell happened?
I think that it's all
I think he
BS.
just ran away.
Yeah.
He probably did. Yeah, it's still a weird little story.
It's still weird.
It's still weird.
For sure.
But especially that added little twist of 3 dead people. Oopsie.
Whoops.
But, anyway, if we have any British listeners out there that are fans of this story and have any input, we have an email account. We finally got an email account.
I thought you were going to stop it. If we have any British listeners, and I was going to say, we do.
Yeah. Of course we do.
But we do have an email. I'm sorry.
We do. It's one of the fancy Gmail accounts. Don't you wish you had one? But thinkingsideways@gmail.com. Send us an email. What else? We are on social media like Facebook, Twitter. On Twitter, we are Thinking Sideways. And of course, in Facebook, you want to join the group and like the page. You can't join the page, so just and don't try to friend us. Like the page, join the group. There's lots of fun stuff going on.
And the Reddit. Oh yeah, we got a Reddit.
We got Reddit where we are Thinking Sideways.
And we
stuff going on there too.
Literally, as of tonight, just joined Instagram.
That's right.
So find us. We're Thinking Sideways podcast on that.
It'd be a very, very small Instagram page.
Yeah, that's what you think.
Yeah, no,
you guys put me in charge of it, so
it's
going to be amazing.
No, it'll start out small. It'll get big really fast.
Yeah.
What else? You're probably wondering where you can find our wonderful podcast and listen to it. Well, we're all over the place. We're on our website, of course, thinkingsidewayspodcast.com. You can listen to our episodes right there. You can also buy merch, like mugs and t-shirts and stickers and all kinds of cool stuff. Oh, yeah, and also on our website, you will find, we always have links to some of the stories, the background
research stuff
and research. We will definitely put a link to Peter Clifford's website that's got tons of research on this story. You can find out all the great details. And I had to leave out because, I could have gone on for hours and hours on this, like iTunes, and we're on all kinds of streaming services too.
Stitcher, Google Play, you name it.
Yada, yada, everything. But anyway, be sure to subscribe, leave a rating, and leave a review, preferably a good rating, 5 stars. Mm-hmm. And remember to downvote the 1-star and the 2-star reviews and upvote the 5-star reviews.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, but
whatever makes you feel good.
Whatever makes you feel good.
All right. Well, okay, I guess that's it. Until next week, arrivederci or au revoir or something.
Hey, guys, so I got to go to our bank account, and then I swear I'll be back for recording next week.
Yeah, we'll see you in 2 years, right, dude?
More than that.
Yeah. Promise not to kill anybody.
Hey guys, Steve here. You are listening to one of our original 26 episodes. If you've listened to any of our new episodes, you're going to notice that we're sounding a little different in these ones.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
There is.
They've been remastered.
They have been remastered.
Because they had a really annoying hum.
Yeah, I mean, a huge thanks to listener James for doing almost all of the legwork on this
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
You'll also notice if you had listened to what we're calling the Lost 26 episodes before, and you're re-listening now, the music and sound effects are gone.
Yes, we've gone back to straight audio. So be warned, we sound a little different today than we do in what you're about to listen to.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thinking Sideways.
I don't understand.
Does not compute.
You never know.
Insufficient data to formulate a reply.
Stories of things we simply don't know the answer to.
All right, well, hello, folks. Welcome. This is Thinking Sideways. My name is Joe.
I'm Devin. Sorry.
I'm Steve.
Hey, I'm talking all over each other here.
We're really good at this.
Yeah, so of course, I don't need to explain what we do for our many millions of fans, but there are maybe a few who are just tuning in. So we're going to talk about mysterious stuff. Tonight we're going to talk about rocks.
Yes.
Especially, yeah, I'm going to talk about a special bunch of rocks in Brittany in the south of France called the Carnac Stones. The Carnac Stones are just thousands of stones laid out, very large stones, I might add, laid out in mysterious rows that are like over a kilometer long in some instances, and 10 stones wide. These stones are called menhirs. Which means standing stones. And they vary between several feet high to about 15 feet high.
Wow.
And yeah, 10 stones wide, over a kilometer long, 100 meters wide, 1,100 meters and change long.
So we're just saying, like, so some guy in the Brittany decided to like take a crane and put a bunch of stones up, or
that's kind of my guess, and. So, there's two fascinating things about this. Number one, nobody has any clue as to why these people did this. And number two, given the size of the stones and the huge, vast numbers of them and then the very careful arrangement, they obviously devoted a huge amount of energy to this. So there had to have been a fairly large, sophisticated society. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. They're estimated between 4,500 BC and 3,000 BC.
Oh.
Okay, so
I thought we were talking about like some dude like 50 years ago with a crane. Like, I'm just going to put these rocks up.
It could possibly be. I mean, we don't really know. I mean, these guys, Carnac stones are named after a town in France called Carnac, and it may very well be that the locals felt that they would like a little more tourism, and maybe they just snuck these things out into the fields one night, and they says, mon Dieu, there's all many large rocks. They are unexplained.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, come visit our town. That could very well, I'm going to put that down the list of possible explanations.
I think that's a good one.
Yeah, I've actually, and you guys have been looking at some of this material. I've been going out and reviewing some of the various theories that people have as to why these things were put up. And that's one of the mysteries. Of course, the other mystery is this very large, somewhat large at least, sophisticated society that obviously had enough wealth and spare time to do this, vanished without a trace. And that's another huge mystery. Where did these guys go?
So we don't know who actually did all this work. We have no clue as to...
I guess, can you like tell me, because I always get really fuzzy on like human history and all of that stuff, like 3,000 BC, that's when you said these were maybe built. What else?
4,500 to 3,000 BC.
Okay, so what's going on then? I mean, are we like, and obviously we're not time of Christ, are we like Great Pyramids? Are we like...
This is like before the Great Pyramids. 2,000 years before the Great Pyramids.
Oh.
So, when they finished up in about 3,000 BC, and I assume that they didn't really finish the project, they all probably just died or something like that. And their civilization just went out of style. But that was still a couple of centuries. That was still at least a couple of centuries before the first pyramid was built in Egypt.
All right, that's all right. I'm getting interested now.
And elsewhere in the world, I think we were just basically living in mud huts and beating each other to death, and stuff like that.
That sounds like that.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
This is the time in human history, right, where we like seem to have forgotten. Stonehenge was kind of happening, right? All of these like big times where it seems like there's this moment in human history where everyone was like, oh yeah, we had all these big civilizations, would really mess with people in the future. Let's just forget about them.
Well, no,
just write it out of
there's all
history.
these megalithic constructions
yeah.
around
Happening.
those thousands of years.
Yeah.
Have then all of the people that
Yeah, they've
lived
all-
there
Yeah.
moved along. The knowledge was forgotten. I think we've talked about this in a different show before, and
Or we will in the future.
Yeah, we're just like, what? We don't know.
It's prior to the invention of writing and all that. There's no records left, and
All of
you know,
those records,
all of their little houses and everything have fallen down.
Okay, so we're
But
talking
anyway,
about
so-
this time period
Yeah.
of time where it's like this big question mark.
Yeah, and just as an aside, one time I was in Wales some years back, and I visited a tumulus, which is what they have at Karnak also, which are these big barrows or burial mounds. And it was dated at about 2500 BC. Again, author unknown. But it's the most ancient structure I've ever been in. But you know, that's
And those are
old.
mounds that are 30 plus feet high.
Yeah.
There's somebody buried underneath the bottom of the mound with all their gear.
Yeah, and this was, this one was not quite that impressive. It was on the Welsh coast, but it was like basically like a little Flintstones house, you know, with like slate walls and slate roof, and then it was buried, and eventually it was excavated and then reburied. But they left a tunnel so you could walk inside it and see what the inside
I
of it
think
was
I've
like.
seen something on that one.
Yeah.
That one
Yeah.
actually
So-
rings a bell.
Yeah,
Yeah, I went to Stonehenge and the weird, like, stargazing huts. They can't totally figure out what's
Yeah.
going on there. And those are really old, and I think they kind of fit this category of, like, weird stonework from a prehistoric age.
Well, and stone, you know, I mean, I've never been and seen the Karnak stones, but just like you, I've been to Stonehenge, and
Yeah.
it is amazing
Yeah.
to see these giant rocks. I mean, what is the rocks at Stonehenge are 5 tons at
Giant,
least
yeah.
minimums, you know, if not 10 or 20s.
Yep.
And you just got to think, wait, this was before we really knew how to use a lot of complex systems, and a bunch of guys
figured it out.
Figured out
Yeah.
how to huck these rocks up on top, and they didn't
Yeah.
fall over.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
still
So-
haven't fallen.
Yeah, and that's what's amazing with these Karnak stones, because they're also really, really large. A lot of them, aren't they?
And so, yeah, they are, and some of them have broken and fallen over, but most
But
of them are
that's just-
still standing.
That's wear and tear, right?
Yeah.
You kind of expect.
Earthquakes.
It's not that
you know,
they've
things
actually
like,
like fallen because they've fallen out of their place, but they
that. No,
get
because they
weathered
were
and
poorly.
cracked.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So-
it's impressive. Ancient man could do a lot of impressive stuff. You
Okay.
know, we think of ancient man as ignorant and stupid, which I'm sure he was, but you know, I'm sure a lot of them were. But
He was
they
just
still did
immature.
remarkable stuff.
Yeah, he's just a kid. It's fine.
yeah.
So anyway, I'll describe them a little bit more for our readers, who I'm sure by now have already gone out to Google and they're looking at pictures right now. Anyway, but for those of you who haven't, let me describe them a little bit. There's 3 major alignments. And it appears, when you look at the aerials and the maps and everything, it appears that they most possibly were just one huge long alignment that was broken up by people stealing rocks for construction, roads going through,
Oh,
and
so
things
this
like
is
that.
another one of those
Yeah.
that there's no actual preservation of.
Yeah, there wasn't for a long time.
Okay.
Well, there is now.
Oh, okay.
There is,
Yeah.
because I actually went to the Karnak website that's run by the French government, and it has visiting hours and all that, but a lot of it is behind fences now, and you can't actually walk into it.
Are there
unless it's-
roads through parts of this and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, there are roads
And
through it,
houses
yeah.
built with this. Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
You would think though that you'd be able to find some big mansion or castle nearby that's obviously built from rocks stolen from here.
Yeah.
and then you could go knock the castle down and take the rocks and put them back.
Maybe that's what it is. That's my theory. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. My theory is that it was a big castle and that they were just like, screw the dude who lives here. We're going to disassemble it in the most obvious way possible.
Yeah,
Saying
yeah.
it. Calling it.
And as to the mysterious disappearance of the people that built this, what I think happened is I think that they did this, and eventually news travels slowly in 3000 BC. I think eventually what happened is the Stonehengians got wind of this and tried to file a copyright infringement lawsuit. Discovered to their rage that lawyers didn't yet exist, and so they went over there and just slaughtered these people and burned their homes to the ground.
I think that's the best.
That's what happened
Yeah.
to that. That's what happened to
Let's
that
get
raid.
back to the description of these
Okay.
things.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'll talk about the alignments. Those are the big things. The Menhic alignments is 11 rows of menhirs. Again, a menhir is a large standing stone for 1.165 kilometers. That's 1,165 meters by 100 meters. So that's a lot of rocks. And apparently there appear to be the remains of stone circles at either end of this room. Next, after that comes their Carmario alignment, which is further to the east. This is called Carmario House of the Dead. I love the name, House of the Dead. Yeah, alignment. So 1,029 stones in 10 columns, about 1,300 meters in length. Stone circle is to the east end. Last of all, the Kurliskan alignment. A smaller group of 555 stones. Further to the east still, 13 lines with a total length of about 800 meters. Oh, they talk about a little bitty group also, the Petit Menec alignment, which is, petit in French means little, if for those of you who don't know that. The Petit Menec alignment, the much smaller group is further to the east of Kurliskan. They're actually in the woods and covered with moss and ivy and stuff. And then after that, besides that, there's a bunch of other artifacts. There's tumuli, which is a plural of tumulus, which is a mound of earth built up, which essentially is a burial mound or a barrow. There are dolmens. Dolmens are kind of like they're basically kind of like Flintstone houses that were tombs, basically big square rocks stacked up with a big flat rock set on the top of it. And I don't know how many guys it takes to lift up one of those things and set it on top. I mean, getting the sides up wouldn't be that hard, but getting the roof on, that's pretty impressive.
That's always the big question, right? Is that like, okay, I guess I can see how they like made those stones vertical, but like it's those giant horizontal pieces on top. That's the big problem.
Yeah, standing a stone upright, you dig a big hole underneath it, and you
just roll it in.
And you roll it in, and then you backfill. Yep. I can see that, but yeah, it's the lifting up the big flat ones and putting them on top that still boggles me.
It's kind of a mystery. Although I and then you fill it around with dirt till the dirt is level with the top of the walls. And then you roll the top up on logs, and then you just pull the logs out from underneath. Then you dig the dirt away again.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we figured that out. Okay.
Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
Because I was going to say, I'm glad I came up with that, because otherwise I would have had to go to somewhere I hate to go, which is aliens.
I like aliens for this, and I want to talk about aliens later.
You want to talk about aliens?
Later.
Okay.
We'll talk about our theories later.
We'll get to aliens.
Yeah.
We always do.
Well, so anyway, like I said, feel free to go out to Google and look at some of the pictures and stuff of this.
You should, because I mean, it's hard to imagine. There's some pictures where there are people standing next to the rocks to kind of get a good scope of how big they are.
Yeah, well, what is the one, Joe? Do you remember the name of the one that, I mean, somebody re-erected it because it had fallen down, but